I never expected my life to collapse on an ordinary Tuesday morning. My name is Lucas Meyer, and until recently I believed I was happily married. My wife, Emma, and I lived in a cozy apartment in Vancouver, close to the harbor, where you could smell the ocean every time you opened the window. We weren't rich, but we had stability, routines, quiet comfort. Or so I thought. That morning started like any other. I made coffee, packed my laptop, kissed Emma on the cheek, and headed to work. She smiled at me, sleepy and warm, murmuring something about meeting her friend later. Nothing seemed wrong, but everything was a lie. The first crack appeared when I received a call from my boss around noon, telling me the system outage had been resolved and I didn't need to come in after all. I decided to surprise Emma. Maybe take her out for lunch. Something spontaneous for once. I wish I never went home. When I opened the door, the apartment was strangely quiet. No music, no TV, no noise at all. I was about to call out her name when I heard it. A low, breathy laugh coming from the bedroom. Her laugh, but not for me. I froze. My heart hammered as I walked down the hallway, every step heavier than the last. The door wasn't fully closed, and through the narrow opening I saw shadows moving. Then I heard a man's voice. Deep. Confident. God, Emma. I can't believe he still has no idea. My stomach dropped. My world tilted. I couldn't move, couldn't breathe, couldn't think. It felt like my entire body turned to ice as realization flooded me. She wasn't sick. She wasn't meeting friends. She wasn't working late. She was cheating in our bed in the home I built for us. At that moment, something inside me cracked. The life I thought I had, the love I believed was real, vanished like smoke. And I had no idea how deep the betrayal truly went. I don't remember leaving the apartment. One moment, I was standing in the hallway, listening to the sounds of betrayal only a few meters away, and the next, I was outside, walking aimlessly through cold Vancouver wind, my hands shaking so violently I could barely hold my phone. My mind kept replaying the same sentence. I can't believe he still has no idea. The way the man said it, casual, amused, confident, like I was a joke. Like my marriage, my love, my trust were nothing but entertainment. I wandered around the harbor, staring at the water as seagulls screamed overhead, feeling like the entire world was mocking me. I don't know how long I walked before I finally sat down on a bench, numb and hollow. I should have confronted them right then. I should have burst into that bedroom and ended it. But instead, I did something I never imagined. I decided to gather proof. It wasn't just anger. It was the way they talked, the tone, the confidence, the certainty that I was clueless. It felt bigger than just cheating, like there was something else happening behind my back, something I needed to know. When I finally returned home hours later, Emma was in the kitchen, humming, cooking pasta, acting like nothing had happened. She turned and smiled at me as if she hadn't just destroyed my world. "There you are. Work ended early?" she asked, casual and loving. I stared at her, trying to see the monster behind the mask. "Yeah," I forced out. "Thought I'd get some fresh air." She walked over and wrapped her arms around me, kissed my cheek. My skin crawled. Her hands, the same hands that had been on someone else that morning, were touching me like I still mattered. And I played along, I ate dinner with her, I listened to her talk about her friend. I nodded, smiled, pretended everything was normal. She had no idea. That night, after she fell asleep, I got out of bed and quietly retrieved the the small security camera I kept in storage. Something I'd bought years ago when we considered getting a dog. I stared at it for a long time, battling with myself. Was I really going to spy on my own wife? Yes, because I needed the truth. I installed the camera in the living room, hidden inside a decorative vase facing the hallway and bedroom door. My hands were steady now, focused, controlled, pain replaced by cold determination. If she was cheating, I'd catch her. If there was more, I'd uncover it. The next morning, I left for work as usual. She kissed me goodbye, smiling sweetly, completely unaware. The moment I got into my car, I opened the camera app. Nothing. Just an empty apartment. For hours. But then, around noon, the motion alert pinged. My heart slammed against my ribs as I opened the live feed. Emma entered the apartment, followed by the same man. Tall, broad-shouldered, dark hair. He moved around like he owned the place. But what happened next froze my blood more than anything I heard in that bedroom. He walked straight to my desk, opened my laptop, and plugged in a USB drive. Emma stood behind him and whispered, "Make sure the transfer looks natural. He can't suspect anything until the deal is finished." Deal. Transfer. What the hell were they talking about? The man laughed softly. "Relax. In a few weeks, Lucas will be out of the picture. He'll sign whatever we put in front of him." Emma leaned in and kissed him. "He always does?" I felt sick. This wasn't just cheating. They were planning something, using me, destroying me. And I had no idea how much damage they had already done. Because when the man turned toward the camera, for a moment his face came into full view, confident, calculating, and I realized something that made my blood run cold. I recognized him. Not personally, but from Emma's work. He was her company's financial advisor, which meant whatever they were doing, it involved money. My money, our accounts, our future. My marriage wasn't just a lie, it was a setup, and I had just become prey in a game I never knew existed. I didn't sleep that night. I lay beside Emma, staring at the ceiling, listening to her steady breathing, wondering how someone could look so peaceful after spending the day plotting to ruin me. Every time she shifted and her hand brushed my arm, I had to fight the urge to flinch. She wasn't just cheating. She was dismantling my life piece by piece, smiling while she did it. Around 3 a.m., I slipped out of bed and went into my office. I booted up my laptop, praying that whatever they transferred wasn't irreversible. It was worse than I imagined. Emails drafted in my name, contracts I had never seen, financial documents linking me to transactions I didn't authorize. And the worst part? My digital signature was already attached to them. They weren't just planning to take money. They were preparing to make me the fall guy. If the authorities ever looked into it, every trace would point to me. Not Emma, not her lover. Me, the perfect crime. I felt my chest tighten, panic threatening to choke me, but I forced myself to breathe. I needed help, real help, not just proof of cheating, proof of fraud. Someone who knew how these things worked. And suddenly, a name came to mind. Mark Benson. We went to university together. He became a cybersecurity analyst for the police before moving to private consulting. We hadn't spoken in years, but if anyone could tell me what the hell I was looking at, it was him. I sent him a message. Didn't explain anything, just asked if we could meet in the morning. He agreed immediately. I closed the laptop and returned to bed, pretending to sleep until the sun rose. When Emma woke up, she kissed me, made coffee, asked about my plans with that same gentle concern she always showed. I wanted to scream. Instead, I smiled and said, "Busy day. Big meeting." She had no idea I wasn't talking about work. Mark's eyes widened as soon as he saw the files. "Lucas, this is bad." "Define bad." He leaned back, running a hand through his hair. "These contracts show you approving transfers into offshore accounts connected to shell companies. If this goes through, you'll look like the mastermind behind a money laundering operation." My stomach dropped. "And the signatures?" "Perfectly forged," he said. "Honestly, I've seen cases where people got 10 years in prison for less. 10 years. My life, my freedom, gone. Because of her. Because I trusted her." "Can you stop it?" I asked. Mark hesitated. "I can track the data transfer source and maybe block future activity, but the documents already exist. Someone is preparing to file them officially. Once that happens..." He didn't finish. He didn't need to. I swallowed hard. "They're planning to disappear after that," I said quietly. "Take whatever money they can and leave me to take the fall." Mark studied me for a moment. "Who's they?" I clenched my fists. "My wife and her boyfriend. He's her company's financial advisor." Mark let out a low whistle. "Jesus, Lucas." He stood and grabbed his coat. "Come with me. There's someone you need to talk to." We drove across the city to a small office building. Mark buzzed us in, and a woman in her 40s looked up from her desk as we entered. "Morning," she said. "What's the emergency?" Mark nodded toward me. "This is Lucas, and he's about to be framed for financial crimes by his wife." She blinked, then leaned back, crossing her arms. "I'm Detective Sarah Reyes, Cybercrimes Unit. Start talking." So I did. Everything, the camera, the USB transfer, the documents, the cheating. She listened without interrupting, her expression growing darker with every detail. When I finished, she asked only one question. "Do you still have the footage?" "Yes." "Good. Because once we open a formal investigation, there's no going back." She paused. "And you need to understand something. If your wife and this advisor are connected to certain groups we're already tracking..." She glanced at Mark. "Then this isn't just about money. It could get dangerous." A chill ran through me. Dangerous. As in, what? Violence? Witness elimination? Was I in physical danger now? Mark put a reassuring hand on my shoulder. "We'll protect you, but you need to keep acting normal at home. They can't know you're onto them." I nodded, though the thought of returning to that apartment made my skin crawl. Detective Reyes continued. "Tonight, plug in a second camera, one with audio. We need voices, names, intent." I swallowed. "Tonight?" "Yes. And Lucas," she leaned forward, voice firm, "do not confront them. Not yet." When I got home that evening, Emma greeted me with a warm smile and a kiss. "How was your day?" I looked into her eyes, searching for any sign of guilt. Nothing. Just affection. Concern. Love. She wasn't acting. She was performing. "I missed you," she whispered, wrapping her arms around me. I forced myself to return the embrace. "I missed you too." Inside, my thoughts were spinning. Tonight, I would set another camera. Tonight, I would gather evidence. Tonight, I would learn the full truth. But as she pressed her forehead to mine, smiling sweetly, a terrifying realization hit me. She was better at lying than I ever imagined, and I had no idea how far she was willing to go to destroy me. I waited until Emma fell asleep. She'd always been a deep sleeper, especially after drinking wine. Tonight she'd had 2 glasses over dinner, laughing and leaning into me like we were newlyweds. It made my skin crawl. Once her breathing settled into that slow, steady rhythm, I slipped out of bed, moving as quietly as I could. I retrieved the The second camera Detective Reyes had given me. Smaller, higher quality, with directional audio. I installed it inside a decorative vent cover facing the bedroom, aiming toward the bed. If she brought him here again, we would finally get clear evidence. After that, I placed a tiny audio recorder in the living room, inside a hollowed-out book, just in case. When I returned to bed, Emma instinctively reached for me in her sleep, draping her arm across my chest. I stared into the darkness, wondering how someone could hold me so tenderly while planning to destroy everything I'd ever built. The next morning, she woke early, smiling warmly. "Good morning, love," she whispered, kissing my cheek. Her lips tasted like betrayal. She brewed coffee, hummed while cooking breakfast, joked about our weekend plans. It was almost convincing. Almost. But her phone kept lighting up. She'd glance at it, smile subtly, then flip it face down. Not once did she show me a single message. When she left for work, she kissed me passionately, lingering longer than usual. "Don't forget," she said softly, "I love you." I forced a smile. "I love you too." She left, and I exhaled for the first time that morning. Around noon, I met with Detective Reyes and Mark again. Reyes was already reviewing the cloned drive Mark had pulled from my laptop. Her expression told me everything. "This is coordinated," she said. "Multiple accounts, multiple transfers, perfectly timed. Whoever she's working with knows exactly what they're doing." I clenched my jaw. "So what's the plan?" Reyes leaned forward. "Tonight, you're going to give her an opportunity. You'll tell your wife you're leaving for a business trip. She'll think the coast is clear. And if she takes the bait, then we catch them in the act, not just cheating, but committing fraud." She paused. "And Lucas, once we have enough evidence, we'll move fast. This won't just be adultery. It will be federal charges." The room felt suddenly colder. My wife, the woman I married, trusted, built a life with, could go to prison. Part of me recoiled. Another part whispered, "She deserves it." When I got home that evening, Emma was waiting, dressed beautifully, hairstyled, makeup flawless. She looked like she was preparing for a romantic evening. "Hey," she said brightly. "You're home early." I swallowed. "Yeah, just wanted to tell you something." She tilted her head, smiling sweetly. "What is it?" "I have to leave tonight. Overnight trip. Last-minute board meeting in Chicago." Her eyes widened for a fraction of a second. Excitement, not disappointment. She hid it quickly behind an affectionate pout. "Really? That's such short notice." I shrugged. "It happens." She threw her arms around me. "I'll miss you," she whispered. The lie slid off her tongue effortlessly. I packed a bag, kissed her goodbye, walked out the front door, and drove straight to the office parking garage. I waited there, watching the live camera feed on my laptop. At 8:14 p.m., her phone lit up. She typed quickly. At 8:27, she showered, styled her hair, put on lingerie I'd never seen before, black lace, stockings, garter belt. She wasn't nervous. She was excited. At 9:02 p.m., the front door opened. A man stepped inside. Tall, confident, expensive suit. Not the advisor I expected. A different man entirely. She ran into his arms, kissing him like she'd been starving for him. My stomach twisted. She whispered, "I can't believe we pulled this off. He actually thinks I love him." They laughed. He cupped her face. "After tonight, we'll finalize the transfer and disappear. He'll go down for everything." They kissed again. My hands trembled with rage. This wasn't just cheating. This was planned destruction. Premeditated. Cold. Calculated. I grabbed the electric bike I'd stored in the trunk for exactly this purpose and slipped out of the garage. Silent, fast, untraceable. Every pedal stroke fueled by betrayal. When I reached the house, I circled to the back, approaching quietly. Through the window, I saw them on the couch, wrapped around each other, champagne glasses nearby, laughing, celebrating my downfall. Something inside me snapped. I opened the back door silently. I had disabled the alarm earlier that week. I walked into the living room. He didn't see me. She didn't hear me. Not until I spoke. My voice was calm, dead calm. "Having a good night?" They froze. Emma's face drained of color. The man turned slowly. "Lucas, what are you—" He didn't finish. Because I swung. The baseball bat collided with his ribs, sending him crashing to the floor, gasping in agony. Emma screamed. In that moment, I wasn't the man she'd manipulated. I wasn't the helpless husband. I was the storm she never saw coming. Emma screamed my name, but I barely heard her. The man on the floor wheezed, clutching his side, trying to crawl away. I planted my foot on his shoulder and pressed down just enough to make him wince. "Don't," I said quietly. "We're not finished." Emma scrambled toward me, grabbing my arm. "Lucas, please, stop, you don't understand." I looked at her, really looked at her, the woman I once adored, the woman I trusted with everything. Her hair was perfect, her makeup flawless, her lingerie chosen for another man. And suddenly, I saw her clearly, for the first time. "I understand more than you think," I said. I pulled my phone from my pocket, held it up, and tapped the screen. Her voice played back instantly. "He actually thinks I love him. After tonight, we'll finalize the transfer and disappear. He'll go down for everything." Her eyes widened in horror. Where did you get that?" I pointed toward the smoke detector. "And that's just the beginning." The man on the floor finally found his voice. "Listen, we can make this right." I knelt beside him. "You were going to frame me," I whispered. "You were going to take my money, ruin my life, and disappear with my wife." He swallowed hard. "It was her idea," Emma screamed. "That's a lie. I raised a hand. "Save it." I reached behind the couch and lifted the rifle I'd prepared earlier. Not a lethal one. Detective Reyes made that very clear. Capsaicin rounds. Non-lethal, but unimaginably painful. I chambered a round. The man's face went white. "Lucas, don't!" I fired. He screamed, a raw, animal sound, clutching his leg as the burning compound spread under his skin. He writhed, begging, cursing, sobbing. Emma froze in horror. "What did you do?" "Exactly what he deserved," I said. "And now you're going to do something for me." She stared at me, trembling. What do you want?" I leaned close, my voice calm. "You're going to leave this house. You're going to pack a bag and never come back. You're not going to mention my name to anyone. Not your family, not your friends, not the police." She shook her head desperately. "Lucas, please, I love you." I laughed. It was cold, empty. "No, you loved the lifestyle, you loved the comfort. You loved the idea of me." I stepped closer. "But you never loved me." Her silence confirmed it. "Now get out." She backed away, sobbing, grabbing her purse and shoes. Before she reached the door, she turned. "Lucas, please, don't ruin me." I met her eyes. "You did that yourself." She fled into the night. I turned to the man, still writhing. I crouched down. "You will go to a hospital. You will tell them you fell or got mugged. You will never use my name. If you do," I lifted my phone, "I release everything, Every recording, every message, every transfer. And you go to prison." He nodded frantically. "I won't, I swear." "Good." I stepped back, opened the door, and pointed outside. "Get out." He staggered to his feet and limped out the door, leaving a trail of agony behind him. When the house was finally silent again, I stood in the living room, surrounded by the remnants of my marriage. The champagne glasses, the lingerie, the perfume in the air. It hit me then, not anger, not rage, emptiness, the kind that settles deep in your bones. Over the next weeks, everything unraveled for her. She moved in with her parents. Her family found out. Her job found out. Her lover abandoned her. She tried calling me dozens of times. I never answered. We divorced quietly. No public drama. No police involvement. I kept the house, the assets, my freedom. She kept her choices, and the consequences. Years passed. I rebuilt, I worked, I healed, slowly. I eventually moved to a small coastal town, remarried a kind woman who didn't care about money or status. We lived simply, peacefully. But late at night, when the world went quiet, I sometimes thought about Emma, about what we had, about what she destroyed, about how close I came to losing everything. The day I learned she died, alone and sick at 39, I sat in silence for a long time. I expected triumph. Instead, I felt something else. Sadness, regret, relief. Her death closed a chapter that had haunted me for years. And for the first time since the night I picked up that baseball bat, I felt truly free.